Good night, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hotspot. I'm glad to have your company on another lovely Thursday evening. As you can see, I'm down here at the Sir John Guy Stadium where the sun is shining hot. We're down here for the tryouts for the athletics team, the PNG Sports Federation and PNG Athletics. So they're looking for any jumpers or throwers that are interested in the build-up to the 2015 Pacific Games. So I think this is the last day today. It's been a successful couple of days. Wish all the athletes all the best that tried out today. But as usual, I've got another huge show lined up for you tonight. Firstly, we catch up with Chris Brown of the National Soccer League to tell us a bit about the upcoming season. And a bit later on, we chat to Tournament Director for the Southern Region 9s, Ivan Rabu, to give us a brief on that tournament thus far. And we also speak to Wendy Kohun, founder of the Women's Rugby League, who has some great news regarding the Women's Rugby League tournament that should be coming up soon. So big stuff happening on the show tonight. Please stay tuned. And without further ado, here's Chris Brown from the National Soccer League.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your time on Hotspot. Preparing towards the 2014 NSL season?
Yes, we are. We're looking at a kick-off date on the 11th of January with 7 teams participating. Those 7 teams are Kari, Oro, Lay Football Club, Eastern Stars, Besta, Gigira and Admiralty Palau.
There are 2 new franchises for the season for 2014?
That's correct. Lay Football Club is one, and they are backed by Zulu Scientific and Panamex, and the second one is Admiralty Palau, which is backed by the Manus Provincial Government. Lay Football Club is based in Lay, and Admiralty will be based in Moresby.
How many weeks of competition for 2014?
There will be 12 weeks of round-robin competition with 2 weeks of finals.
What are the requirements for a team to take part in the National Soccer League?
Firstly, they must pay their expression of interest fee on time and their affiliation fees on time. They then have to prove that they have substantial financial backing to be able to complete the season without any problems. They then have to demonstrate that they intend to own their own grounds or have use of their own grounds inside 3 years. They're the basic requirements.
Speaking about grounds, what will be the venue for 2014?
Lay, we will have the Sir Ignatius Kalagi Stadium, and Moresby we will be using Bassini Parade.
Okay, Bassini will also be going under renovation. What other alternate venues are NSL looking at?
As far as Moresby is concerned, we don't have an alternate venue at this stage. However, what we will do is we will shuffle Lay matches to be played in Moresby early and vice versa, so that we can get everything out of the road on time.
So the kick-off date again?
11th of January 2014.
Is that matches just in Port Moresby or in other centres as well?
It'll be Moresby and Lay for both centres.
Are there any centres that will be hosting NSL besides Port Moresby and Lay?
Not at this stage, no. There may be a couple of guest games played in other centres while Hikari are away. There may not. We're not sure at this stage.
While we're talking about men's National Soccer League, what is happening with the women's?
The women's is up in the air at the moment. We will probably look at a kick-off date towards the end of February, and we'll take it from there, depending on how many expressions of interest we get.
So far, how many teams have expressed their interest?
Only one at this stage.
Is it in Port Moresby or Lay?
No, it's in the CPIC. And they will have to base themselves either in Moresby or in Lay.
Comparing the past seasons leading up until now, what have been the challenges for National Soccer League?
Challenges have been venues and spectator control have been the 2 major ones, but we're getting around that.
How does the National Soccer League plan on addressing these issues for the next season and for beyond?
By providing adequate security and securing grounds for the future.
Looking forward to 2014?
Of course.
We've got 7 teams this year. Unfortunately, there were some teams that weren't able to make the 2014 season.
That's correct. There were 2 teams that failed to pay their affiliation fees on time, and they were dropped out of the competition. We need time to arrange the competition, and because they didn't pay on time, they were dropped.
Okay. There have been imports coming in, imported players for certain teams. That is good for the football code itself.
Yes, it's got its good points, it's got its bad points. As far as I'm aware, there's only Eastern Stars and Hikari have imported players at this stage, but there may be other teams coming later.
Hikari will be looking for another premiership. What do you think other teams should do to give Hikari a run for their money?
Train hard.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your time, and we'll look forward to having updates for you leading up to 2014, the season kickoff.
Okay, fine. Thanks very much for your time.
We'll go for our first break now, but before we go, we caught up with PNG Athletics President Tony Green to tell us a bit about the trials that are happening down here at the Sir John Guy Stadium. Firstly, Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cecil.
Can you please give us a brief on what's happening down here at the stadium?
Yes, well, this is the second day of a two-day talent identification program for the throwing and jumping events. We're looking for athletes to represent us at the games in 2015.
Okay, this talent identification program, is it only happening here in the nation's capital or around other centres in the country as well?
No, from here we go to Lae, then Mount Hagen, and then Kokopo.
Are we, with this program like this that's happening, are we sort of struggling to find athletes in these particular sports at the moment? Or?
Well, we've for a long time now we have not had any throwers, and it's the same around the Pacific. There's only one or two countries that really take the throws seriously, like New Caledonia. So we don't expect to just come from nowhere and beat the New Caledonians in the throws, but we want to be at least well represented. Hopefully we can pick up some minor medals, but to be realistic, we just want to see people representing PNG in those events at the games. So we're targeting other sports. We're hoping that the other sports, because obviously not everybody can play volleyball or basketball for the team in 2015, so those players who are not in the national squad, we're encouraging them to come and try the jumps and throws.
We're obviously very talented in the running side of things. Are there any opportunity, maybe the current athletes that are training, have they maybe thought about doubling up and maybe throwing and running as well? Or?
Probably running and jumping, but the throwing is more of a specialist area, and it sort of suits a different body type. We've seen some very good young athletes here the last couple of days in the jumps. There's some boys showing some very good potential for the long and triple jump. So I'm sure we'll find some good athletes from this program.
Yes, you mentioned about the throws, especially with the skill set and the body shape. Do you think that if you were to find anybody in these talent identification programs, is 12 to 18 months enough, ample time to prepare them to be up to the standard come 2015?
I think a lot depends on what we can provide in terms of training facilities. When you're looking at events like the discus and the hammer throw, it's a very technical area, and you need specialist coaches, and obviously you need a safe place to train. You can't have people throwing the hammer on a public field. I don't know. We'll have to look at the athletes that we do identify and see how we can help them and come up with individual programs to support them.
Thank you, Tony. Wish you all the best. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to add on?
Just to mention that we'll be at the Sir Ignatius Kilagi Stadium in Lae on Friday and Saturday. So anybody that wants to come and try, just go and register your interest with the PNG Sports Foundation office in Lae. In Mount Hagen, we'll be at Holy Trinity Teachers College. And again, registration forms are available at the Community Development Office in Mount Hagen. And for Kokopo, we'll be at the Tacoba Sports Ground for the throws, and the jumps we'll do at Ulapia.
So there you have it, Tony Green from the PNG Athletics Union. You heard the dates and times then, whatever you're doing, please get out there. You never know, you could find yourself representing the country come 2015 in the Pacific Games. Please join me after the break. We'll catch up with Southern Region 9's Tournament Director, Ivan Ravel.
to Hotspot, and as Cecil mentioned before we went to the break, we're joined by Southern Nines Tournament Director Ivan Bravo. Ivan, thank you for joining us on the show this evening.
Yes, good evening, Mary. Good evening, viewers out there.
Okay, before we go into this year's tournament, tell us a bit about the Southern Nines tournament itself, a bit of background.
It started back in early 2000, where I developed a concept where we could invite the villages from the central province to come to a tournament. Started off with 20 to 24 teams, and then because other provinces in the region were interested, the teams were interested, have increased it to the region. And last year we had the highest number of 88. So it's been a big event over 6 days where all the villages come together into Port Moresby, and there's been exceptional atmosphere of rugby league, Papua New Guinea.
Okay, and so how many teams are taking part in this year's tournament?
This year we have 64 teams, quite a few down, and that probably is because of the venue, and we brought the game forward by a week, so that has affected the numbers. But despite that, the entertainment and the intensity is still the same.
Evan, just tell us what exactly is the purpose of the Southern Nines, and what does happens to the winners after this tournament?
About 4 or 5 years ago, we decided that not just run a tournament in this capacity, because we had 88 teams. Just imagine 25 players in one team, and that's a big number of players from the region taking part in the tournament. So what Song did is that we thought it better that we try and get into the national competitions to give opportunity for these rural boys, even though they may be rural, but they're very skillful, very talented, and that was one of the main reasons why we had the tournament going, is to hopefully in the future have a team in the Digicel Cup. And I'm pretty sure that regardless of the size, these players are very, very gutsy, and we've got the speed itself. Size can be built. So it's something that we were hoping to, but unfortunately, when the application was made to the PNG NRL competition at the time, it was rejected for reasons which we were a little bit disappointed about. And I feel that it's about time that the southern region people or the central province people should be given an opportunity to show their skills at the national level. And this is where I feel that by having the coastal boys in the march with the Highlands players, they'll improve the performance of our national team, the Kumos. And this way, we need to really look at urging the Digicel Cup competition to really look at, going back to the grassroots. There's a lot of talent out there. If they got the heart to do it, training-wise, improving the skills can be done.
Yes. You mentioned about having a team in the Digicel Cup, but have there been players that have come through the Southern Nines that have actually made it into the Digicel Cup?
Yes, there is. Apart from a player like Josiah Babu, there are players who have been contracted to Anglo York. There was one. There's several who have gone from the tournament last year, who played in the Cabramatta Nines in Sydney last March, came back and was signed up by Digicel Cup players. So therefore, I feel that we have the capacity to do so. Hopefully that we can convince them in the future that the Central Province team should be considered.
And then we have the cup right here behind us. Who are the defending premiers?
Maupo Payo is the defending premiers from last year. Unfortunately, the runner-up did not take part this year because of disciplinary reasons. But yeah, they did just manage to make it into the top 16 to play for the cup. They were beaten on Monday by Wanigala Kavala, and it'll be interesting to see the big shots hitting it out in the next couple of days.
We have the grand final on Friday. Who are your tips?
Well, there's another team that's a very young team, which I watched 2 days prior, and they're from a village called Kelerakwa. They call them Kelerakwa watermills, muds. And even though they're small, they're very, very fast, very skillful. They won all their 3 games. But they'll be coming up against big teams like Rovalama and several other big names, which which will make it really interesting who the finalists will be. The other favorite is Poribada Broncos. They've been the cup holders a few years back, and also the other team is GC Gaivakala. They've also won 2 years in a row of the Southern Region Nights. So it's quite open. We have a lot of young players coming through the tournament, and I'm really happy and pleased to see the standard is improving.
It's great that it's another tournament for another year, Ivan.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, having it here and players coming to participate on a ground where people dream to be from the villages, it's been a success. We have no incidents so far, and we hopefully that it will run well tomorrow for our finals and the grand final. Right. The other thing we have is that we got involved a Australian police officer who is newly posted to Port Moresby, has refereed a few games on Sunday. He'll be back to referee the games tomorrow, and I've asked him to referee the grand final, so I'm pretty sure there'll be a good standard of football with a good referee.
But we're here at PRL. Sadly, PRL is going to go down for the 2015 Pacific Games. What other venue can Southern Nights be played at?
It'll be very difficult to find a venue as such. What I have mentioned in the past is that Southern Region Nights tournament has been running with a sponsor, and it is through a gate receipts that we meet our costs, and we even give a bag of rice to each of the teams as supplements to their meals while they're in Port Moresby. So it'll be hard, but we'll see how things go next year, and hopefully if one of the venues is ready by end of next year, we might be able to run a game there, but probably not, but we'll see how things go.
Well, thank you for your time, Ivan, and we do wish you another successful tournament next year.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to promote it's a grassroots tournament, and I'm pretty sure that the footage that you air and the newspapers that print, the individuals will be really excited to see their photograph in the papers or their photographs on TV.
Or there you have it, Ivan Rabu, Southern Nights Tournament Director. We'll go for a break now. Coming up on their side, there's plenty more on Hotspot. Yes, and welcome back. You're watching Hotspot, and we're still on the sport of Rugby League. We now head over to the Women's Rugby League, and we're joined once again by our good friend Wendy. Wendy, it's been a while, but it's good to have you back on the show.
Good to meet you again, Marie.
Okay, and we're talking about the Women's Rugby League Cup. Tell us about that launching today.
Well, we did launch the cup. It is the CRC Women's Rugby League Cup. We're saying thank you to the CRC that came on board. Would like to give back to them what they did to us. Being the first sponsor is something huge in all this women's heart. Coming on board like this, it's boosting our morale. It's boosting the old campaign. Thank you.
Tell us how many teams will be taking part. Which provinces will be taking part?
16 teams have vied to take part. We have the Bougainville, the East New Britain, Kokopo Sisters. We have the Port Moresby Venoms, Port Moresby Mauros, NCD Lakatois, Lay Bullets, that's from Morobe. Goroka, we have the Lulumes, Goroka Hanupas. Chimbu, we have the Simbu Bomaigis and Simbu Ambais. For the Western Highland, we have the yellow eagles and the orange eagle 1 and 2. We have the 4 teams from the Jiwaga Leagues: Fatima Style Flower, Bunch Jets, Mince Jets, Bunch Besta, and the Banning Kujip Carex Ranges. We have also interested teams from Tari and Wabek Brother quite late this year.
You will be holding the cup in Ley, and tell us a bit about the format of the cup itself, how many days it will be running.
All right, the draws will be out this week in the papers, the Fridays and Thursdays paper. The draws are done by the organizing committee up in Ley. They set to put them in pools of 4.
So apart from the Women's Rugby League Cup itself, are there other initiatives coming up for Women's Rugby League?
Yeah, we're trying to launch the Kumul campaign, but since there's no enough support, we will still do that once we have the sponsors and finance coming in. We've also got invitations from New Zealand, the Tonga, and somewhere to play them next year. We're still in the process of the dialogue with the Australian Women's Rugby League.
We do wish you all the best with the cup, and hopefully we can catch you again just before the cup takes off in Leh.
Thank you very much. Just a word, my leagues and girls around PNG that are vying to come to the championship, they're struggling with finances, but we know that, and we hope and we believe that next year will be much better for Women's Rugby League in PNG. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Wendy, for your time.
Thank you.
And now let's take a quick look at the hotspots of this weekend. Tomorrow, grand final for the Southern Region 9s down there at the PRL. And the Peppers depart for the Nations Cups in Singapore. And Saturday and Sunday, of course, softball down there at the Bissini Diamonds. And the Men's Super League Grand Final at Bissini at 2 p.m. between Momase FC and McLaren FC. And that's it for Hotspot this Thursday evening. Please check us out on Facebook and like our page, and please tune into Sports Scene on Monday to catch up the roundup of the Southern Region 9s and the grand final in the Men's Super League between McLaren and Momase. So that's it for Hotspot this Thursday evening. Whatever you're doing this weekend, please stay safe and play fair, and we'll see you same time, same place, right here on Hotspot.